Fantastically well. Welcome back to Connor here on the One Leeds Fan Channel, and I'm here to talk to you about teamwallart.com. Now listen, for the channel to prosper, for the channel to have the creativity and the innovativeness that we have, we need you to go and buy a product from Team Wallart, guys, because it helps us. They help us run as a Leeds United fan channel, and what I love about them in particular is they're Leeds fans. They're not just some generic brand, they are Leeds fans, so we need to be supporting them. And I think they've got some great gear as well, guys. They've got a new Rafinha plaque, which Brownie's just got, which is absolutely mint. I think you guys have been ordering it in abundance, which is great to see. But if you'd go over there with the code ONELEEDS, you get a 10% discount, and you can get plaques for as cheap as £5. It's worldwide shipping for an incredible rate. Go over there, guys. Check them out and enjoy the video. Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing fantastically well. I'm sure you are. We are back with the review of Leeds United 2, Manchester City, Oasis FC, Liam Gallagher FC 1. Unbelievable scenes. Just a quick one from me as well. Thank you for everybody who is tuning in this morning. We've got 150 of you so far. I'm sure that's going to rise. If you wouldn't mind slapping a like on the video, it helps us understand that you're liking the content as well, guys. If you follow us on social media, we ran a competition yesterday from our new sponsors, Cards Plug. Link is in the description below. And it was essentially, you can win yourself a free one of these if you just retweet and you make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's Jack 1995 is the competition winner. Jack, get in contact with me on social media, mate, and you will get a free one of these cards through the door. It's well worth it. You better get a One Leeds sticker, mate. We're not having any of this Leeds United stuff. We want One Leeds. There we go. But get in contact with me, mate, on Twitter. Well done. There'll be more competitions like that running every week, guys. So please make sure you stay in touch. But with no further ado, the Dick to my Dom, the Bill to my Ben, the Cooper to my red card, the Dallas to being thrown goal. It's Brownie.
Yes. We all right? We good?
All right, mate. I'd say all right. You know, normally what I do is my blinds. I put my blinds down. I have my lights in on me, and you know it can be a bit claustrophobic in here. But yeah, I've let my blinds up, Brown. It's a sunny day. Leeds have just won in Manchester. It don't get any better than that, does it, mate?
Sun is shining. The birds are tweeting, and Leeds are in the top 10 again.
Leeds are in the top 10. No, I don't even like saying that. It's top 9, mate, not top 10.
Top 9. And I'm looking at it as well. We had this discussion. Whoa, when was it? It must be 2 months ago now. We did a show about getting into Europe. We're 4 points off it.
And we were laughing, weren't we? We were just like,
4 points off it. And you know what? If we probably won't get there, but if you'd have said at the beginning of the season you're 9th, you're above Arsenal. You're above Arsenal. You've got 2 tricky games, Liverpool, Man United to come, and after that, you've got very winnable games. And you're 4 points off Europe. I mean,
shout out to Lee Bromley, who's finally catching his first live show. So yeah, I mean, there you go. It's great, isn't it, Lee? I mean, we're just talking off air, and we reckon that after the fact, we've just got more energy. We've watched Match of the Day, we've watched a few things, and we've just got more to talk about on the night where we're buzzing. But we're still a little bit deflated because, you know, there's a lot of things which we haven't taken into account. So I do think it's better after. How much gel in your hair, Connor? Do you know what? Not actually that much. I've just got out the shower and swept it back. This is what we do. This is what we do. We have to. It's hair chat. Brownie, how's your hair going today?
Oh, mate, it'll be the last show. It'll be the last show where I look an absolute wally. Can't wait. Let me to Monday. Have
you not thought about the slick back? You are very blonde, though, aren't you? I don't know how a slick back would look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just get it on now, mate. It's doing me head in.
The other side of the coin, Chelsea fan channel, but a lovely lad down in Australia, Sydney, Australia. This is one of the best duo in football, social media. Loving what Leeds are doing next season. Crack the top 6. Oh,
all around the world, Connor. All around the world.
That's all right. All around the world. But yeah, let's get into it then, Brownie. We're waffling on about just nothing really, and that's great. Okay, where to start now? The game we'll touch on referees and all that shenanigans very soon. But initially, like I always ask you, your general thoughts. I mean, I tell you what, Brownie, when they were announcing that team, and have you ever watched Dodgeball, Brownie, the film?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. This is, you might get this reference then. When they announced this team, I'm thinking to myself, you know, when they're in that bar scene and there's White Goodman and he's just like, this is my team, Blade, Laser, Taser, and my fitness consigliere, Michelle, and they're all just world class.
Oh, it was like playing the Harlem Globetrotters, wasn't it? It was Harlem Globetrotters and the Avengers rolled into one. I mean, we shouldn't really have been anywhere near them, let alone go 1-0 up, let alone go 2-1 up with 10 men. I mean, it was one of them performances. I don't think I've celebrated a goal like that since the Swansea goal. I don't know what other people think, but that winner in the 91st minute, it just had the feel of that Swansea goal when we got promoted. It was just euphoric. And I mean, the one thing that annoys me the most out of the game is, forget Andre One-Way Mariner. It was, the goal came at the away end. That away end would have been absolutely carnage. It would have been unbelievable. It would have been unbelievable. And I mean, I was chatting with my brother Johnny, and it just had that feel when it was in the first half where it got cut back, where Fernandinho's twisted Cooper up, twisted him up and slid him into Sterling, and he shanked it wide. The away end would have been taking the absolute. They'd just been going, wah! Like we shouldn't have even been anywhere near them. It just had, what's the right word? Last season in the Championship, we had so many teams come to Ellen Road where we'd have like 35 shots and they'd have one and they'd score and we'd be fuming. It's just felt so good to be the other way around. We're not used to being like that. It was, what was it, 29 shots to 2?
It's great though, isn't it? Like, it's fine. It's good at being on the shoes on the other foot. It's great, and I just think, like I said, they announced the Dodgeball All-Star team, Blade, Laser, and all types of Azers. We started the game, and obviously the lineup in question. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind the lineup at all, to be honest. It's the best we could have done, to be honest. City put the lineup, they had 7 changes. But the thing is, and what loads of people, and this is what, maybe opposition fans will hang on to, they've not had the full strength side out. But therefore, that second team, for me, and you might agree or disagree, Brownie, that second team still challenges for top 4.
Yeah, of course. Look at the control they had in the game. I obviously, as you know, I played football in Manchester. I've got a couple of City fans that are mates, and they both said, neither of them, to be fair to them, went down that road of, we had this player not playing, we had that player not playing. They were just full of admiration for what Leeds had done. Yeah. They've won 27 out of the last 28 games. There'll have been changes in all them games they've played. Yet we've gone to City. Not only have we won, we've won with 10 men. We've played a full 45 minutes with 10 men. This team that can't defend, I've defended with 10 men. And I thought it was brilliant how we've seen that different side to Bielsa, where he has just gone pure shit out of it and gone, we're not even going to play with a striker. We're just going to play 5-4, break us down. And the inclusion of Costa actually helped when we went down to 10 men, because we had Costa and Rafinha being able to break and make up that striker. And I just thought it was 2-1, and I know they had loads and loads of the ball, but there was quite a few breakaways that we had that we didn't make the most of. Rafinha went through 5 minutes before Ederson's made a good tackle. We broke away with Rafinha where Fernandinho's absolutely rifled him into the air. That's 2. There was another one where Costa slipped. So it wasn't like we just hit him on the break once. We did pick our moments. But the way we defended, it was like we had a wonder wall. We were just class with it. We just sat there. And do you know what? From times, we say he's brain dead, but apart from one tackle that he dived into and got skipped around by, I thought Alioski was really good yesterday.
Yeah, no, definitely. I thought it was. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Ref watch. there's a lot of people talking about it in the comments. And listen, I don't want this to be a negative look on the ref. Well, no, as in, I want this to be a positive video because we've argued, well, we have got the win of the season. But this is a review. We have to talk about the game. Now, I'll just give my thoughts initially. I thought Andre Mariner had an absolutely shocking game. I cannot believe, and this is just talking the minor things. We'll get into the major thing, obviously. But I cannot believe the amount of times Nathan Aki went on the deck, Sterling went on the deck, Stones in particular went on the deck. I mean, there was one where Stones was just running forward. Calvin Phillips was near him. Stones fell over his own foot on the edge of the box where City have the most technical players in the world. And he can't wait to give it every single time. And I just thought when it was the other way, you know, they broke from a chance where Calvin Phillips tried to turn, I think, Bernardo Silva. It wasn't the smartest decision, but Phillips was fouled. He was evidently fouled. And apparently Mariner, after that, for example, turned round and he said to Phillips, because Phillips was complaining, and he turned round and said to Phillips, well, if they'd have scored, VAR might have ruled it out. Now, for me, so you're passing the buck then, aren't you, Andre? You're relying on VAR. So is refereeing a thing anymore? Does refereeing just happen at St. George's Park? Do they just, because for me yesterday, this is how it felt, Brownie. It felt like the easy decisions. You look at Bernardo Silva when it was a half volley and he smashed it wide, and he's looking round at the referee and he's going, corner. No, Bernardo, it wasn't a corner at all. It was a crap effort from you. You had to get that on target, and he's missed it. And Mariner straight away pointed for a corner, and it just felt, you know, even after we were down to 10, Mariner was giving them absolutely everything, and Leeds were getting nothing.
Well, you took words out of my mouth. I thought the worst decision of them lot was the Bernardo Silva corner. I mean, it showed it on Match of the Day from behind the goal. There's nobody near him, and I don't know how he can see it as a corner. If in doubt, it's always with. Well, I mean, that's how I grew up. If in doubt, the defender gets the decision. For me, with rules, I don't know where football's gone with rules anymore. Honestly, played football since I was 6 at a professional level as well, and I'm struggling with the rules now. Honestly, some of the rules I don't get, I don't understand, and I think the players are in the same boat. But during the game, it really was Andre one-way Mariner. There was one in the first, well, 2 in the first half where I think it was Costa. He gave them a throw-in right in the corner where the away fans would be, where Costa was barged to the floor, and he's given them a throw-in, which was off the back of Roberts at the other end, getting barged in the back. Waves play on with that. We had 2 in about 45 seconds where it was just play on. Yeah, it just felt, whereas if a Man City player went down, it was right arm up. That's how the whole game went. I mean, there was a couple of times where right near the end, Rafinha got body checked by Fernandinho. Like he literally leant in with his shoulder, play on. But it just felt like the other way around. And
I know which one you mean. That was when he laid it off to Costa in like the 88th minute, wasn't it? And
he stepped into him, raised his shoulder, literally caught him on the jaw. And he's played on. And there's times where Man City players are just going down, not getting touched, and they're getting the decision. And this is where, for me, I'm a big advocate of get rid of VAR, because I don't want to use the word cheating, and we'll get into it with the Liam Cooper tackle in a second. They're very selective on what they're looking at. They're not looking back at all the other decisions. We had a tweet this morning about the offside, maybe looking at offside for their goal. He just got back on side. They didn't check it.
Yeah.
They didn't check it, though. To the naked eye, it could look off. They didn't bring the lines up. And this is what's really bugging me. Sterling gone over the top of Rafinha, stood on his ankle. Meslier's got the ball in his hand. He stood on his arm. Things aren't getting looked at. Baldock last week doesn't get. It's very selective.
Well, but Brownie, I wonder. Well, I mean, like you said, we'll get onto the Cooper thing in a bit, but the check at the end. The check at the end with regards to hold on. Nope.
What has he done?
Hey, can you see me?
I can, yeah.
I know my camera just burnt up, so there you go. But yeah, no. What I don't understand about it is, with regards to Cooper and with regards to everything that happened, why, with that tackle with Fernandinho at the end, why is why is that? That's a cynical tackle, and you can see him at the end. You can see Rafa limping off. Why is that not getting looked at for me? What? It's all based on perception, isn't it? That's what it is. It's all based on perception.
Yeah. And I thought VAR was for black and white. And the other thing that annoys me, whether you think Cooper's was a red card or not, it's not a clear and obvious error.
No.
You've got to slow it down. You've got to look at 2-3 different angles. It's not a clear and obvious error. To the naked eye, he's won the ball. So
yeah,
VAR's for clear and obvious errors. It wasn't. So it's picking and choosing what it looks at. And for me, that's just wrong. It's not the same across the board. I mean, it's David Coote in the VAR room.
God, yeah. When I figured out it was him, I was like, oh, geez.
Some nerve when he lets Virgil van Dijk get scissor kicked by Pickford with 2 legs across the knees, and he's given play on, and it's just not the same. It's not the same standard in every game, which is what's really bugging me. But I don't want to. The performance, I don't want to go off on a tangent on the referee. No. I think Supernova performance, and we just got to get into the result.
Yeah, the thing is, what you can't do is you can't look back in anger. You've just got to look forward with what we've done, and like you said, that performance was supersonic.
Yeah,
but Johnny Stevenson, this made me laugh. Did Fernandinho just take your cam out, Connor?
Well, I mean.
Right, okay. We've not got onto it yet. Let's get onto it. And Brownie, we have to keep it short because we have to get onto the stunning performance that was Leeds United and get onto all the great things, and we will. And that's why you're sticking with us.
Being a rock and roll star, got to get into him.
That's it, yeah. You put me off there, but right, let's get into it.
It'll split decisions. It'll split people. I get it.
Of course, it will. Red card now. I'm not going to bottle this because I don't do this on this channel. Me and you were messaging. You were of the thought process. It was not a red card. I turned around to you and I thought it was a red card. Now, the only reason, and you made a really, really good point, and my mates did as well. The only reason I thought it was a red card, I initially saw it, and we've seen Cooper do that a couple of times. We saw him do it this season, didn't we, at home? It was a brilliant tackle, fantastic tackle, but you thought to yourself, that was a minute, not even a minute, sorry. If that was a couple of seconds later, it'd be a straight red. And Cooper, sometimes, pretty much like Phillips, I think it's probably a Leeds vibe that we have, Leeds lad vibe. But they go in with these tackles. And I did think, when I initially saw the tackle with Cooper, I thought, you know, I thought he's a bit high there. He's got the ball, great tackle. But Jesus, if he'd have timed that a second later. Now, when it was replayed, and when everything slowed down, you know, I could do anything in this room, but when it slowed down, everything looks 10 times worse. And when it was slowed down, I think Lucy Ward said on commentary as well, when they showed the second angle, which was essentially Cooper going straight, got the ball, brilliant tackle, but then he went straight through his calf, and you saw Jesus's his kneecap looked different to his hammy at that point. Sorry, not his calf. And yeah, that's when I looked at it and I thought that was high, slightly reckless. But this is the comparative, and this is why, for me, I'm more in your camp of what you're saying, Brownie. If Cooper had have smacked his head on the floor and he'd have pretended he was concussed, would he got away with that? You know what I mean? I mean, this is what we're talking about now, because Baldock the week before, for me, that's worse, 10 times worse, and he gets away scot-free.
Yeah. For me, why I thought it wasn't, one, when you kick I don't know what he's meant to do with his foot. When he's connected with the ball, it's one-footed.
Yeah.
His studs are facing down, and he's half a yard away from Jesus when he actually touches the ball.
Yeah.
Now, think of it as a golfer. We're watching the Mars at the minute. When you swing a golf club, it follows through. You can't just swing it and stop. I don't understand what he's meant to do with his foot. He's gone to kick the ball. I don't understand what's his leg meant to do, stop in midair. And this is going to sound daft, but if anything, when we're talking about freeze frames, when Cooper's connected with the ball, it's Jesus that runs into Cooper. He's the one that's carried his momentum on.
And it's weird, Brown, isn't it? It's like, if his leg's not there, I know it sounds really obvious, but if his leg's not there, there's just no chance the ref's giving anything. To
flip it round, and this is to why I think I don't think Cooper needs to make that tackling the way he did.
No,
he's got to the ball first, and he's cleared it. I don't think he then needs to launch himself off the floor.
That's
where I can see why people think it's a red card. For me, I think he's got to the ball first and cleared it. I don't think he's meant to get him so high on the knee, but we saw it in the Leicester game where he's banged into Perez. I think he wants to let him know he's there. I do think there's an element of that. I wanted to think he wants to make him let him know he's there. But if we say Jesus nips there first and Cooper's bottled the tackle, we're hammering Cooper for not going in for the challenge. So I'm not sure what he's meant to do with his foot. When he's
would you just playing devil's advocate, if it was the other way, would you be saying the same thing?
Well, I was last week when it was 2 foot. This is where I'm saying with VAR, it's not consistent. Baldock's left the ground with 2 feet. His studs are showing. He hasn't touched the ball. Where all them 3 things Cooper has, he wasn't 2-footed. He wasn't stud showing when he connected with the ball, and he didn't leave the ground with his foot when he actually connected with the ball. Flipping it round to Baldock, it wasn't even a yellow card. There's been times this season. I mean, before that happened, I thought it was a penalty, to be honest. I thought, when you're saying, would you want it the other way around? When Stones was ragged by Cooper and ragged to the floor, that other way around, I'd want something for that. So it swings and roundabouts. But
yeah, but that's it, isn't it? It's like when he's brought down, when Stones is Cooper's got hold of him. He's got hold of it, and that's one of those where why is VAR not looking at that?
That's what I mean. It's subjective. It's selective in what it's looking at. It either looks at everything across the board or it doesn't. And this is why VAR's for me is not working. It just isn't. And I mean, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure it's VAR half the time. I think it's the people running it. They're just different. I don't think it helps it being a different person on VAR in each game because it's a different opinion. It's not computerized. That's black or white. It's different interpretation. But yeah, for me, for Cooper, and we've said this on the show before. We've always been full strength, and Bielsa's got a decision to make. He doesn't anymore. Cooper's out of the team for 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Brownie, I know, and we'll get onto this now. I'll tell you what. Let's get on to we'll ignore that. Well, we've gone over it. Let's get into some positives. All right, so we went down to 10 men. Within seconds, City get a free kick, and Leeds are just absolutely everywhere. It's clearly rocked them, and Stones has headed it just wide. And I don't know about you, mate. And we'll get into the tactical change that Bielsa got into with Pep, which I still think ran throughout this game, which just seems to happen between Pep and Guardiola. It's really interesting. It's like a game of chess. But
yeah, I think Bielsa outdid him, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. But I think throughout the game and throughout the start of the game, the first 20 minutes, last time we were talking about on the preview, the first 20 minutes, we were chasing shadows. Now, in this game, it almost had sort of an end of season vibe to it. But I tell you what, mate, 11 versus 11, don't get me wrong, we're under the cosh. But I still think Leeds, we had 2 or 3 breakaways with Rafa. There was a particular one where I think it was Roberts and Rafa interchanging on the right-hand side. I think it was. Roberts played it in. Bamford, it was a brilliant touch from Stones. But Leeds, even 11 versus 11, they were right in that game.
Yeah, they were. And there was one before that as well, which went just past Bamford. It came from the right-hand side again. No, it was Rafinha when he cut it back behind everybody. There was 2 or 3 breakaways where we were getting at him. And there was a 2 or 3 where we were in good positions and the final pass again wasn't great. We rushed it a little bit. Rafinha did a couple. Roberts did one where we were just rushing that final pass. Maybe we were just giddy to be in their half because we were really under the cosh.
Yeah.
But for all the play they had when it was 11v11, apart from when Sterling dragged it wide where he should score, they didn't really cut us open. They didn't really have any major chances. It was all, and it just echoed how solid and rigid, and you could see we'd worked on it. We could see we were following people. Lorente were following Sterling right out. It really was that man-to-man system. But we were really rigid and resolute, 11v11. Now, sometimes it is harder to play against 10, but in that game, I don't think it was. You lose your out ball. That second half, we literally had no out ball. It was just literally attack v defence. It was just coming back.
Should we talk about that tactically? So obviously, what happened initially, if you haven't watched the game, Bielsa takes Bamford off. He makes more alterations in the second half, but obviously Struijk comes on as well. And This is the thing.
Interesting, by the way. Very interesting that he's gone strike above cock. That shows you his pecking order. That was an interesting decision.
Yeah, but what I was going to say as well, Brownie, is when Cooper went off, and this is the beauty of this Leeds side now. Llorente, Cox, Strike, Cooper, Ayling, if he's going to be a centre-back in a back three, whatever, I have no problem now with our centre-backs, and that's the first time in probably over 2 decades I've ever felt like that about Leeds United.
Yeah, we've got 4 really good centre-halves, all internationals for the country. I mean, it's just mental that we can say that. We've got 4 centre-halves that are internationals. But yeah, tactically, I think we were all amazed. And this is why Bielsa's just a genius at what he does. Could anybody hand on heart say they'd have took Bamford off?
Yeah, because when Bamford went off, normally what happens when you get out of 10 men is you leave the striker on. And
just so you've got an outlet.
Yeah, but yesterday, that didn't make sense because if Bamford would have been on the pitch, it'd have been a complete waste. And what I found really interesting, Brownie, was the man marking system. For me, it kind of changed in the second half, and we went more to just let Fernandes, and it made me so nervous, and I'm sure it got you nervous and everyone nervous, but it was almost like a free-for-all in terms of shots. It was Fernandinho and Stones were the most dangerous players on the pitch because we just let them have the ball, and they'd come up to the edge of our box, and they'd either slide it out wide to Cancelo or Zinchenko, or they'd have a strike, and Leeds are all right with that. We just packed the box, which is, it's a different side to Bielsa and a different side to Leeds, which we've not seen before, and it just shows if we need to, we will dig in like that, but we won't do that because, let's be honest, Brownie, we don't want to see that. And everyone's praising us. Rio Ferdinand's praising us for our defensive resoluteness. That's great, and we've got that in our locker. And for so many people who are saying Leeds that have a plan B, we don't really need to utilise a plan B because that's not how Bielsa is. But if we're forced into doing it, we can do it, and we showed that yesterday.
For all the numpties that say Bielsa's a fraud and he's only got one way of playing, he really shut them up yesterday. He really did. Because like you say, 99% of managers would leave the centre forward on and just have an outlet, whereas we went the other way. We retreated even more and said, right, you can have the ball in front of us. You can have John Stones running 34 yards and being like Bilbo Baggins going on adventures. You can do that because as soon as you get to our box, you're not getting through us. It was like, you shall not pass. And it was pass out wide. And everything, and this was what was really good with Leeds. Alioski headed some away, Llorente did it. They all made the fair share of clearances. When the ball came into the box, it wasn't the same person going, it was spread across the team. They were all putting their bodies on the line. Even in the first half, Cooper's made an unbelievable block from Torres in the box where he's shot and he's got his foot across and someone else has shot and Bamford's blocked it. It really was backs against the wall and bodies on the line, which is great to see because we're not used to seeing that.
No, and I think it was mad as well because we played it really well, and this is what we always talk about in terms of Leeds being a counter-attacking side. If we ever went into that sort of mantra, we've seen it with Leicester, we've seen it with City, we've seen it with so many teams really, especially away from home. Leeds on the counter-attack, if we set up like that, like a Leicester City, we'd be absolutely frightening, wouldn't we? If we actually set up like that, but we don't, and that's the Bielsa way, and that's what we love. But it'd be so interesting to see if we went into every game like that and to see, how we'd profit. If it'd be Harrison and Rafinha on the break, and then we'd just be compact at the back. That'd just be interesting, I think.
Just flipping it around though, do you think we've not been like that because of the injuries we've had? We've now got bodies coming back that's allowing us to do that sort of thing. We've now got players that are comfortable doing that. Rafinha on the break. Do you know what I mean? First part of the season, we didn't have Rafinha constantly. Like in the City game, Rafinha didn't play.
Yeah.
We've now got 4 solid centre-halves where if we want to set it up, we can start with 2. We can bring another one on. We've now got more bodies and options to allow us to play different ways, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got any sort of standout performers? For me, I thought Melier was calm, composed. As you've said, Brown, I don't think he had much to do, but when he did do things, I thought he was very calm and composed. I never questioned his ability, but I said to you pre-match about Llorente, and I thought it's going to be really interesting to see, because when Llorente gets the ball, he's all about passing it out quickly. He's all about getting the ball and moving forward as well with the ball. And I think he does that very quickly, and he's very when he gets on the ball, he's all about getting into that midfield transition and moving Leeds up. And he's regularly, and we saw that yesterday, happy to get the ball and just move forward and maraude forward. And I thought yesterday, against one of the top sides, he'd maybe struggle because they might pick his pocket and it's just one killer pass. It's one killer pass. And I thought yesterday, he proved me wrong. I thought he was absolutely fantastic yesterday.
Yeah, he was so calm and composed. He wasn't flustered. He was still doing them passes inside. And he's just positionally, he was always in the right position. There was one in the first half floated over him and he's got to the head and headed it out for a corner. Positionally, it was no nonsense. There was one where it was in our box. He didn't mess about with it. He just put it out. Put it out. And as a defender, sometimes that's what you need to do. If you're unsure, just put it out. Just get rid of it. No point messing about with it in dangerous positions. I thought Sterling didn't get much out of him at all. He was never done in behind. He followed him out. I thought it was a really good performance from Levante. Again, probably one of the best of the team.
Can we talk about as well? There's a lot of people. Claire Hipkin says here, one of Costa's best games in the Leeds shirt. Now, what I want to say is, this is a guy who's going up against Cancelo, and Cancelo this season has arguably been one of the top 5 this year. He's been superb, absolutely fantastic for Man City. And I thought defensively as well, and going forward, I thought Costa was superb yesterday. And he'll never get the credit because he's not the glamorous ones and he's not one of the favourites. But Helder Costa yesterday was absolutely fabulous. And I hope he can start making this more consistent, because we've seen it against Liverpool at the start of the year. We've seen it against Manchester City. When he comes up against the big opponents and he's relied on, he can do it.
He did so much of the, what's the right word? Unfashionable. He did so much work off the ball yesterday. And he picked his pocket quite a few times.
He did, yeah.
He was standing him up, and then he was just pinching it. And he broke quite a few times for us. And I thought he ran himself into the ground. He'd put that much work in late on.
He got the semi-assist, didn't he, Brownie? 2 of the semi-assists yesterday.
Semi-assists, yeah. It's an interesting one because of his performance. Does Harrison come back in? I know that's a conversation for the preview next, but does Harrison come back in after that? That was how good Costa was yesterday. 1 to 11, I don't know how you can change the team. I know Cooper will have to come out, but 1 to 11, I don't know how you can change that team for next week. They were it just worked to a T.
It just shows as well, like, Fulham had something to fight for. We go into that game, we run more than them, we're relentless, we're aggressive, and we've really got, and people might classically say we've got nothing to play for, but Fulham have got everything to play for. Man City, with the caliber of player they had, it should be an FA Cup tie. We shouldn't even, and that's just based on the fact that they've spent over $1 billion on the squad, and we make it into a right game, and we've still got the hunger, we've still got the desire, bodies on the line, absolutely working for everything. And it's just, isn't it, Brownie, just mesmeric looking at this team and where we were and where we are now. And I cannot believe the strides that this club has made.
Well, we've had people knocking us all year, haven't they? It's been one thing after another. Like at the start, it was, they'll go down. And then it was, we concede too many goals. And we kept having to prove people wrong time after time. And in the last week or two, it's been, well, they've only beaten teams that are below them. They haven't beaten teams near the top. And it's always felt like every other week, we've got something else to prove. And Bielsa finds a way to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And the funny thing is, Pep's not beaten Bielsa this season. We've taken 4 points of what's going to be the champions. 4 points. We were in the championship last year. And we've taken 4 points off the Harlem Globetrotters. It's where we've come from is ridiculous, to be honest. I was watching Match of the Day last night, and I was just saying, this set of team 3 years ago were 13th in the championship. Yes, we've added 1 or 2 here, and Rafinha and Levante, but the majority, Dallas, Ayling, Cooper, Meslier played in the championship, Phillips. You go through it. Bamford, they were bottom half of the championship when Bielsa took over.
Should we talk about I've heard a few people discuss it, guys, as well. There's 700 of you watching, which is the most me and Brownie have had on a post match. So thank you so much. If you wouldn't mind liking the video and subscribing if you are new for more content like this. But Brownie, I was saying earlier, we were talking about. Did you hear Chris Boyd's comments?
I didn't. No, I've seen people mention it on Twitter, but I just didn't listen to it, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do that now. I'm just trying to not listen to bollocks.
Well, you're right. Let's you know what? Let's not give him airtime. But if you want to check out Chris Boyd, go and have a look at his comments. But they were farcical. But
we're not going to look back in anger on this.
No, we're not. Okay, so we've not mentioned him yet, but the goals, we've not even really mentioned the goals. Dallas's first goal makes it even sweeter when it hits both posts, doesn't it? And I mean, it broke to him. And you know what annoys me a little bit with the Leeds players? Go celebrate, go knee slide.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I've always thought that. The one that sticks out in my mind is Harrison's second at Newcastle when they just equalised and we went down the other end and scored, and it was just like, well done. And I think get together, but I think they're just that knackered with all the running they're putting in. It's another 20 yards they don't need to do.
No, exactly. Superb finish. They got back into it, and I tell you what, when they got back into it, a lot of people have spoken about the offside, but as well, Meslier was really unlucky. His footing gave way, didn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't in the corner, was it? The finish.
He really did. Brownie really did slide away, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And I tweeted out the first 30 minutes, the pitch. It just felt like it looked like ours when we got it from Tottenham. I remember tweeting out, "Have they bought this pitch from Tottenham?" There were players slipping left, right, and centre. So I don't know, but yeah, the finish. It wasn't in the corner, was it?
No.
With his footing being better, he probably saves it. But other than that, his handling was great. He came for corners, he was catching things. There was one time though where we're 1-0 up with 10 men, he's caught it and he's launching us on a counter attack. I'm thinking, relax, sit on the floor, lay down, roll around, stop rushing. But yeah, it's just the Bielsa way, isn't it? We just want to constantly attack. And I think sometimes players forget that we had 10 men against the Galacticos. But when they scored that equaliser, I looked at the clock and there was 16, 17 minutes left, and I thought
you're getting Foden and Gundogan warming up, and you're like, oh my god! You seen Kevin taking off his bib, you're like, oh god!
It just felt like the longer we hold out, the more we might nick a point, and then they equalise. And I just thought we can't do this for another 17 minutes. But we probably had more clear-cut breakaways than they did in that 17 minutes. And another thing, going back to Andrew, he added 3 minutes. Why we were still playing in the 96.5 minute, I do not know. The ball didn't go out there when we scored.
Some might say that he had a City shirt on, but yeah. So it was amazing. And then obviously the last goal, and we were threatening it. There was a couple of counter attacks before Brownie when Rafinha went through, and it was that touch. He goes through. He's absolutely paced past Fernandinho, I think it was, and he just took. This is obviously before the final goal, and he took just a touch which took him a little bit further outside. It narrowed the angle, and to be fair, it was a brilliant tackle, wasn't it, from Edison?
Just before that let him down. He's broke away. It's brilliant. If he'd have touched it into his left hand side, he has the whole goal to aim at. But
yeah.
It was just it's just his touch has led him to the right hand side, and if he gets round him, he's got a tap in. It's so close, but that's why Edison's good at that. Edison is really good at that. They say that Edison could, in training, he trains outfield and he could be an outfield player. So at that moment, that's when I thought that was our chance to win it gone, and I'm sure a lot of Leeds fans thought that as well. But it just goes to show that we then broke away again, and we saw a comment Bielsa burnout with 10 men. City away, and we're breaking in the 91st minute. I mean, the disrespect some people have on Bielsa staggers me.
Did you see Brownie though? Did you see Dallas? I mean, you think you'll have been in that in a football game, and I certainly was. Where you just think, ref, it's 1-0, you're hanging on, or whatever, 2-1, whatever, 1-1. You're hanging on for dear life, and you're in the ref's ear. Ref, just how long have we got left? 30 seconds, son. 20 seconds.
We were blowing the accumulator, weren't we?
Brownie, but just to see Dallas and his post-match interview when he turned around and just went, I saw the gap and I just went for it. And I'm thinking, the concentration, which we've not touched on, the focus to stay on your man, to watch every because that game was like a chess game. And you're playing chess against the best player in the world. And to keep that focus maintained. And for Dallas to think, do you know what? Okay, I'm going to go for it. And for him to just burst forward like that and the composure, it signifies.
Well, I said it a week 2 ago. I thought he was a player of the year last year. Fernandes took it because of his goals towards the end of last season. But throughout the whole year, Dallas was amazing. And I've said it again this season. Dallas, I said it, and it's daft, but for me, he's the first name on the team sheet. I know we've got Rafinha and we've got bigger players, but for me, he's just so massive for us. And he's the most, I'm going to say it, is he the most underrated player in the Premier League for what he brings to a team?
100%.
Fernandinho is been likened to Makelele. He's just that anchor man for Man City. He's broke off the back of him twice. Both goals, he's broke off the back of Fernandinho. He's picked his moments. And like you say, concentration, it's draining his concentration, especially with a man less. It's just the energy levels that they were at. And I mean, from Graham, the Alioski pass. If that's Kevin De Bruyne's pass, by the way, that's getting replayed all day. The weight of the pass.
Beautiful, wasn't it?
He did. This is why, and I get slaughtered for this sometimes, and I know we need a new left back, but for me, and I think this is why Bielsa loves him so much. How many times did you see Alioski bombing on and overlapping? He constantly does it. And obviously, technically, if we can get a better left back who can do the same thing, great. But Bielsa picks him time after time because defensively he might be weaker, but what he gives us going forward, how many times you see him popping up at the back post with a shot? West Brom goal, he's always up there. And it's just energy levels again for me. He gives us so much on that left-hand side. And the pass through, it was higher than needle stuff. And it was such a good way. It was
outside of his foot.
Yeah, it was the way that the defender can't nick it. And I just thought it was great how we saw John Stones swanning around, floating up, going on in his adventures. And the one time he needed to defend, he couldn't.
No, he really was electric, wasn't he? But I'll tell you what, Brownie, this morning, I just had morning glory over that performance. I really did. I
want Bielsa to live forever because it is unbelievable.
But yeah, mate. I mean, man of the match.
There's only one man who can take it, I think.
Yeah,
Ballon d'Or.
But once again, I don't think it was. If you take out his 2 goals, it could have been. I mean, Llorente, Meslier. They were just so. No, we've not even mentioned Calvin. Like, I thought in the first half. I mean, I thought in the first sort of 10 minutes he was a bit sluggish, giving the ball away a bit. He didn't really look on it. They were closing him down, and they always pinpoint Phillips. You can always see that with the Pep team. They did it last time as well.
The Man United game.
Well, Brown, if you remember Mahrez in the first game was just following Calvin round. They kept trying to pick him, and Pep's clearly targeted that. But I thought in the second half, there was one moment right at the end. Dallas had just scored, and Phillips, for some reason, was in the corner. I don't know if he'd marauded forward, but you just see him absolutely sprinting his bag out to get to John Stones, just putting everything in. And you just think to yourself, like, at the end when they're all celebrating, and he's a mate, apart from Rafa, who just looked really pissed off at the end.
I mean, I think the Leeds fans would still be in the away end now. That's how big of I saw a tweet. Is that our best result in the Premier League?
Yeah.
And that's a big statement because we've been up there. For the younger viewers, they won't remember, but back in the late 90s, that's a normal result for Leeds. That's a normal result, going to Man City and winning, going to the top. We went for Anfield when we had Ferdinand. I remember he scored a header at the away end at the back post. He headed it down. We beat Liverpool away 2-1.
Was it one of them?
Yeah, when he gave it away to the away end. And that's a normal result for Leeds. But what I mean by the best result for Leeds now is because we're not at that level anymore. We're not at top 3-4 level. We're a newly promoted team, and we've gone to one of them top 3-4 teams. Well, the top team.
Oh, you mean ever? Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
Just in terms of where we are at compared to the top teams. Back in the late 90s, early 90s, that would be a normal result for Leeds. we would go to a top team and expect to get a result. Whereas now, nobody expected us to get a result at Man City, if we're being honest.
No, they didn't. Yeah. I mean, Max has said, now we're half the world away from City and we still beat them. These Oasis puns are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Well, the way we're going, Bielsa's going to take us all around the world, going on a European tour, isn't he? So, I mean...
Oh, God. But yeah, it really was a champagne supernova performance, wasn't it? I think we must have got at least 11 in there. So I think
we must have brought out an album for Oasis today with the amount of puns we've got in.
But yeah, guys, we're probably going to leave it at that. I really appreciate, and we really appreciate you coming on. And we've got some exciting games coming up, and now we've just got to all be buzzing because we've got Scum coming up, we've got Liverpool, and it's all exciting times now, guys.
I will say, I did say we wouldn't lose all three.
Oh, we haven't done the scores. You said 3-0. I said 3-1. So we both didn't win, unfortunately.
But I did say we wouldn't lose all three of them tough runner games. Bielsa doesn't lose 3 on the spin. I just felt we'd get some. I didn't think it'd be that one.
No,
if I'm honest. But the 3 games that we had, Liverpool, Man City, Man United. I said if we get a point out of that, would be fantastic. We've got 3.
Yeah.
We can only, you know what I mean? We can build on that. We're 9th. All this Villa talk, the below us, which is another fantastic little thing to the table. Arsenal are below us, 4 points off Europe. I'm looking at the table, and now I don't see us finishing any lower than 11th.
Nah, not now. Not now.
Now I don't see us finishing any lower than 11th. Mathematically, West Brom have to win every game and make a 35-goal swing. They're the only team that can catch us now because they've got 2 games in hand of West Brom and Fulham. So if West Brom drop a single point, Leeds stay up. So
Villa got a couple of games in hand as well.
Villa have got one game in hand on us now.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
Point behind game in hand.
Go on.
Being greedy now, looking towards the end of the season, I just want to finish in that top 10. And I think the players, you said we don't have much to play for in terms of going up, going down. I think the players really want to finish in that top 10 as well.
Yeah, they really have got the they've got the drive for that, haven't they? But yeah, mate, we'll leave it at that. We've been going 46 minutes now. Guys, thank you so much. We've had a record number of you in. So if you wouldn't mind liking the video, subscribing. If you want to help the channel out, there's a couple of links below. We've got your cards here, which are brand new sponsor cards plug. And we've also got Team Warlock here. You can cop these for a £5 with the code 1Leeds. The link's in the description below. You've also got 20% off these as well for a gift for your kids. Whatever, but they are really good quality.
We've had a competition winner off the back of Chelsea game. We've had a competition winner off the back of the Man City game.
Yeah,
got to do it for the Liverpool Man United game. We'll get our heads together and we'll get some competitions out for them 2 games because I'm a superstitious guy and we keep getting results on big games when we do competitions. So we're going to have to do something for them 2 games.
That's it. Yeah, we'll have to get we're just going to be skint by the end of it. But yeah, no
results. And the sun's shining, the birds are tweeting, and we're all skipping around watching Match of the Day on loop. I don't care.
That's it, mate. That's it. But guys, thank you so much for joining. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday. Leeds have beaten the best team in the world, and we are the best team in the world. But you know what I'm getting at. But there you go. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in, and we will see you in a bit. Cheers.